Welcome to another episode of Purchase to Profits. I'm Seth Ferguson. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss our daily interviews with successful real estate investors. Our guest today started his real estate career over 20 years ago and is invested in more than 4,000 units. Mark Kenney is the founder of Think Multifamily. Mark, welcome to Purchase to Profits. It's great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Seth. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you. So to kick things off, tell us about your real estate goals right now.
My real estate goals are twofold. One is, want to continue to buy properties, provided it makes sense. And maybe we're in 5 markets today, 5 states, multiple markets, and maybe get in a couple others. But I have a big passion to help other people get properties. And about a year ago, we started helping other people buy properties. First year, it's about 20 deals, 180 million. So it was a good first year for sure. And reality is I get a lot more joy out of seeing somebody brand new get a deal than myself.
Yeah, no, for sure. So with your own business, do you have any targets you want to hit? Do you say, I want to do so much volume this year, or I want to acquire so many more units?
Yeah, about 2,000 or so units.
Okay.
We did more than that last year. So it would kind of depend. A couple of deals we're doing a little bit bigger deals as well, price wise.
Mm-hmm.
We're buying a little bit higher quality assets just as a norm. So the pricing is getting a little bit higher, so the raises are a little bit more and things like that. But if we did 2,000, I would be happy with it.
Yeah. And did you make the conscious decision of going after those higher quality assets just based on where we're at in the market cycle? Are you planning for a downturn at some point?
It'll happen. I know that.
Yeah.
People keep trying to guess. I'm not someone that's going to try to guess because 99.9% of the people are going to be wrong. Just reality. So stop trying to guess. But a couple of things. One, physical characteristics are better on we try to buy mid 80s now. We buy newer, and we still buy some older properties, but physical characteristics are better, usually individual metered and pitch roofs and no chiller for heating, cooling, and things like that. And then the clientele, frankly, seem to be a little bit easier to deal with, less headaches, less crime, less bad debt as a general statement. So all around, less headaches, and the returns are virtually the same. I would say the difference is if you buy a huge value add deal, maybe 50% occupied, then you can definitely make more without a doubt, but you can also make less. So
Yeah.
it's the brain damage you have with doing those type of deals, frankly.
Yeah, for sure. So did you start off in that C class then when you were first building your business?
Well, mostly all C. The first property I actually bought that I syndicated was mid 80s construction, so it was a nicer one. And then I went backwards from there, started buying like 70s and things like that, late 60s. But it was just that property became available. I liked the deal. And, the sub-market will have a big impact as well, how people treat the property, how well they're paying. We have another property that it's mid 80s, and we had 4 months in a row with 0 delinquency. So every single tenant's paying full amount 4 months in a row, which is it's unheard of. So I like those type of deals. You can't always find them though.
Yeah. Well, hey, C class is a dying breed right now. Everybody's trying to upgrade it to a B.
I think the newer guys coming in, general statement, they seem to have to start in the C, or a lot of them do start there because there is a little less competition there now. And there's nothing wrong with C's. You can do really, really well. You just have to realize that it is easier as a general statement to have a nicer property. It just is.
Yeah. And you mentioned, one of the first deals you syndicated. At what point did you feel comfortable in your business to begin syndicating deals? What was it, after X many years?
So I started buying when I was 22. So it's been a little while.
Yeah.
So about 26 years ago now. And I didn't know what syndication was. I was buying 2 to 4 units. I had a identical twin brother too, so he and I would buy properties together. And it was until about 2013 that a friend of mine was doing a syndication. I invested passively in the deal. I'm like, this makes sense. And I had an IT company. I was working literally 80 to 85 hours a week, maybe more sometimes. It's just, I'm crazy. So my wife's like, you need to look at doing something different. And I said, well, in order to even remotely come close to replacing my IT income, which was pretty high at the time, I need to start syndicating because I'll just simply run out of money. And every few years I could do my own deal, small deal, and wait another few years and you run out of time doing that, frankly. So that was kind of the transition that I made. And I was nervous as you could possibly be trying to raise capital. I've never raised capital before, never asked anyone for money. And I tell people it's not really a joke either that I asked my dad probably 2 times my entire life for money. And I only asked him 2 times for a reason. It didn't go well. So, and he wasn't like, because he didn't have the money. He didn't have money is what I mean. He had 7 kids and he worked. He just didn't have the available cash. If he did, he'd give it to me, but he didn't. So that's why I was kind of like, I need to do something different than what he's doing.
Yeah, and lots of the people who watch this show, they're just getting started. Maybe they have a couple properties. They're thinking about syndicating. What tips do you have for them about starting that capital raising, having those conversations?
Yeah, take it very seriously for one, because now you're talking about taking other people's money. I think as far as getting, you don't want to pitch a deal. We all say pitch, from a perspective, but you want to provide an opportunity to people. You need to be out there going to events and meetups and just talking to people and following up with them. People need to see you multiple times to see that you're legit. And then you need to be, doing things. If you're new to it completely and you're just getting started, then start putting things maybe on social media saying, hey, I analyzed a deal today, or I walked a property today. And it could go on for months, before you actually get a deal. It could. But doing that and then giving people some sort of value. So end of the day, social media is great, but you don't have contact information through social media. So if you can provide something, come up with a checklist, come up with something, lessons learned, and then people get it and you want to ask them for the email address. End of the day, you need that. And then follow up with them and communicate to them. So getting out there physically at events, being on social media, talking to people, on a regular basis as far as what you're up to, then it's not a surprise. Hey, Seth's been doing it for a year now and actually has a deal. So, okay, I see that he's not just starting now. Second piece I would say is make sure you understand the laws around it. A lot of people don't, the 506B, 506C for raising capital. It's not rocket science at all, but you better understand that before you start raising money and understand what you can and can't do. And then partner up with somebody who's done it before. Just reality.
Yeah. And as you were building your business, because obviously you started, the wife told you, hey, you have to do something different. And now you've grown a pretty good operation. What challenges do you have as you start to scale up in your syndication business?
Well, one is when you have multiple deals going on at the same time, which we do. We'll have, we'll close 6 deals this first quarter. People start cherry picking different deals, and you send out an email for a deal, and then a week or 2 later, send out another email, and people are like, which deal is this? And so that's a little bit of a challenge, having a number of deals going on. And then just operational wise, you need to get more organized. I would suggest people, when they start getting several deals, sign up like with a investor portal. I wish we would have started there. It's not that much money really. It would have saved so much time. We just didn't do it. So we recently signed up for a portal, and that will make things a lot easier on everybody. But that would be a big thing. Your operations have to be there, and don't try to reinvent things. There are tools out there you can buy relatively inexpensive, and I would do that.
Yeah, and just for you having a handle on your business, do you have any routines or rituals that you go through, maybe daily or weekly?
For the business, or just as
both personal and business?
Yeah, routine wise, I do work out 6 days a week. I just feel better when I do. Originally I used to work out all the time, didn't do it for 20 years. And then and I ended up dislocating my shoulder and got kind of back into it again. And now I love it again. So, but doing that does really give me a kind of a mind break. It just does. I feel a lot better when I do it. And then other than that, really not too many other routines. I do always make a habit of trying to get through every single email within the day. So it'll never, I mean, if you didn't hear from me within a day, then it went to junk or something because
Yeah.
I'll get back to you. Same with phone calls. I'll get back with everyone within a day. So because it just builds up in my mind, trying to make, and then I'll also, if there are things I need to do, let's say there are, 10 things I need to do in the day. A lot of people say they'll do the highest priority one, and that's fine. I mean, that's great. It makes sense. But if I have, 3 tasks I can knock out in 15 minutes, I just get them done. It makes me personally, from a mental standpoint, makes me feel better. I got 3 out of 10 done. Yeah, they were small tasks, easy to do. But if I can respond within 5 minutes and take care of something, I'm going to do that. Even above something that maybe that's higher priority. And I know people might say, well, you shouldn't be doing that. But reality is it actually frees my brain up to focus more on the higher priority things.
Yeah. And making it feel good is half the battle, right?
It is. I mean, it's like with anything, with going to the gym, sometimes I'm like, I don't really feel like going, but I've been going consistently 6 days a week. And there are days where I'm kind of like, man, I have a lot of stuff to do today. And I had a flight to LA I had to take, and I got up at 4:00 in the morning to go to the gym because I had like a 7:30 flight or whatever it was. And you don't have to do that, right? I mean, but I made a commitment to myself. I was going to do it. So I did it. But you don't have to be that way necessarily. It depends what's important to you and priority at the time.
Yeah, I've learned you don't do leg day on a day you're flying. That doesn't end well.
Leg day, I don't actually swear, Frank. Yeah, I don't. But when I'm doing leg day, man, I'm just like, man, I want. Some days I'm like, man, I really want to use some words I don't normally use.
Yeah. So who was the first person that you hired onto your team as you were building your business? Was it admin or?
Well, I started the business with my wife, Tamil. That was what was great about it. I did IT. She wasn't involved in it and didn't understand. And I ignored her because I had so many deadlines and things like that. I didn't sleep and just didn't take care of things, So I didn't hire her because she's co-founder, so she's equal, and she'd probably say more than equal with me. But and then it was we had a more of a back end guy to kind of do more of the click funnels and just email communications, and so kind of admin, but a little more technical aspect. And then now we have a full-time executive assistant that does that. And then we still have that back end guy, and we have a marketing guy and things like that. But I think I did an IT business too, where I sit there going, man, I can do this task, and rather than paying somebody, and some of the stuff I could pay offshore people $20 an hour. It's like, why am I wasting my time doing this? It's silly, but I did. And I think you need to look at it and say, where's your value, really highest? And reality is, you're going to do a business, you're going to spend money. I look at some stuff at the end of the year going, my goodness, we spent this much money on marketing and this much money on, we have developed some apps. We did things like that. I'm like, what in the world, but you have to do that if you're going to do a business. And don't always hire the least expensive person, because end of the day, it's going to cost you more. I mean, I've tried that before, whether it was IT or whether it was property management companies, and you get what you pay for the most part. So you don't have to be silly about it, but I've found spending a little bit more to get a better resource is well worth it.
Yeah. It's like, what's the quote? If you think working with a professional is expensive, wait until you hire an amateur.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And I've seen it time and time again. And a lot of, I've done other businesses too, and you're better off just sucking it up and doing it.
Yep. That's so true. So looking back at all the deals that you've done, is there one that stands out as a Keystone deal?
I did several deals, but I think the one that would stand out the most to me was when I was still doing IT, about 50%, somewhere around there. I don't remember the exact number. And I really needed another deal to quit. And it was getting to the point where I just wasn't finding a deal. And we had been looking, and I found a deal, and I partner with me too. Found a deal, and it was great because my son kept asking me, well, how many more deals you need to get before you can quit your IT job and stuff like that. It's my business, but still to quit that. And this one came up, and then we almost in the middle almost didn't get it. But that was the one deal that really put me over where I was like, okay, I feel comfortable now to where I can scale back completely on the IT business. And I wasn't making as much at that time as I was making in IT. I was doing pretty well with the IT business, but it gave me enough to where I could feel comfortable to not do it anymore. And now, we've done a lot of deals. So I had a big mindset issue where I did not think I would replace my IT income. I did not think I could do it through real estate. I was doing really well. I had a big company, big projects. We've been able to do it and more, which is great. But that was the one deal. It was 255 units. It was North Dallas. And it was about 15.4 million about a few years ago, around there. And that was the one deal where I said, okay, I can scale back if I get that deal.
Yeah. And how long did it take before you either hit or exceeded your IT income?
That's a good question. Probably 2 years. Pretty quick. I mean, probably 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so consistent with most of the guests I have on the show. They always think that, oh, it's going to take 10 years before I'll replace my job income, but it always happens so quick.
I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, period. I really didn't. I mean, in my mind, I really was like, I'm making really good money. Didn't think I was going to be able to do it. And so I didn't have even a horizon on it. I was just like, well, I have to accept that I'm going to probably make less money and have more freedom, more time with the family, things like that, and just need to accept that it's going to be less.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how fast you can really do it. And depending on what you're doing, and we do acquisition fees, like a 2% acquisition fee, 1.5 to 2, depending on the project size. So, that helped as well. Closing that deal, I think I got about 150,000 acquisition fee, which was nice. And then you have the asset management fees and cash flow and things like that. So that's why I felt comfortable with it. And I'm like, man, if I can start doing, several of these deals a year, it can add up.
Yep. And with the Dallas deal, you said that you had trouble finding a deal. So were you just concentrating on those broker relationships, trying to turn up a deal? What were you doing?
Yeah. So at the time, I was only looking in Dallas, and Dallas was just starting to heat up. I mean, a lot. And we just kept getting outbid on deals. We had really, really great broker relationships. It wasn't really a broker relationship. Track record wise, that time I really had only done like two decent sized deals before that. So not, pretty new still. Didn't have as good of a track record, and people were just, paying a lot more for deals. This one, I mean, just worked out phenomenal. I mean, it's gone up just significantly in value. But working the broker relationships is definitely important. If you don't have a track record, or you have a limited track record, again, you need to partner up with somebody. And people think, oh, I want to do it on my own, and I want to do this and that. That's fine, but I'll be talking to the same person a year from now, and they'll be like, I don't have a deal yet.
Yeah.
Smaller deals, one thing, and there's nothing wrong with doing smaller deals. But if you're looking for, let's say, 100+ unit deal, and you're brand new to it or have limited, experience, I mean, I wouldn't sell to someone new. We sold 3 deals last year. There's no way I would sell to somebody new. I have no confidence in the ability to close.
Yep. 100%. And like you said, with the larger deals, you need to make sure they're going to come up and close on the deal when they're supposed to. You can't get left hanging, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So with the Dallas deal, what was was there a value add potential? What attracted you to that deal?
Oh man. Yes, there was. I'll get into that in a second. But the biggest value add was just pure management. And everyone's like, oh, hey, I can come in, manage better. Well, in reality, maybe you can't. In this case, we knew we could. I mean, the management was just horrible. I mean, they had to change their name because they're so bad and things like that. So I think their economic vacancy which is just like physical vacancy, concessions, bad debt, loss to lease, things like that, was like over 20% in a market where it was 10, 11%.
Yeah.
We experienced it directly ourselves. They treated their residents, just horribly. It's just like ridiculous the way they treated them. So we're like, hey, we can come in just from a pure management play. They also had upgraded 113 units, I think, on a 255, and they weren't charging any extra rent on those units at all, not even $1. So we're like, we can come in those ones and bump them, $100 easily in that area. And then the value add play was pretty light. We did some exterior work, not a ton, but more landscaping. I think we spent maybe $35,000 landscaping around the office, which really made it nice. And we added cedar horizontal fencing on all the balconies, which looked really nice. And that was about it on the exterior. Interior, we finished off the rest of the units. And the rest of the units, we were doing 3,500-ish a door. And then some of them we did a bigger upgrade, and we were doing 5,000 total upgrades. So we did granite and then cabinet fronts to try it, and we were getting like an extra 125 on those. So we're like, man, this makes sense all day long. And we were putting appliances in, and people are paying $50 to $75 extra a month for new appliances. It would just do the math on that with a cap rate. You're just like, 3 months you paid for it.
Yeah.
So big value add play from the standpoint of management. Interior upgrades were pretty light overall. Occupancy was already in the 90s, like 93 physical. But loss to lease, they were charging a lot less than they needed to, and they weren't charging even more for the renovated units. So, and it's a great area.
Yeah.
As far as location wise.
Yeah. It sounds like a great deal. So how did you land it? Did a broker come to you kind of off market?
It was listed. It was listed. It was competitive for sure. We got it below whisper price, which was good. It was a loan assumption. So some people don't want a loan assumption. So it was, and the reason people don't want it sometimes is because your leverage is lower. So we assumed the loan, but we actually got a supplemental loan, which is, if you think about home residence, like a HELOC in a way, right? Second loan in your house, same concept for here. So we closed the loan, assumed it, and got the supplemental loan at the same time. We got up to 75%, including rehab dollars included in there. And then like 3 or 4 days before we closed, the lender gave us an extra $341,000 in additional proceeds because the property had done so well.
Yeah.
Those are all things. Now, does every deal work out exactly like that? No, it doesn't. There's not an exact science everyone looking for, especially like, I'm analytical, engineers and people like that. You just need to get over it. You have the information, you have the time to make a decision, and it's a lot of information, but there is some trial and error. You take over a property. Nobody wants to hear that, but that's reality. So that was kind of the way it went down.
Yeah. And have you guys done a refi on that just to consolidate?
We looked at doing another supplemental.
Okay.
But it wasn't that good because it's coming due 2024, the loan. So that decreases your proceed, things like that. We're looking at doing a refi, but reality is it's been in the low 90s. Then we had some months where it dipped into 88, 89, which is, not happy about, but it's reality. It happened. So it's back up in the 92 to 93%. So we'll be looking at doing a refi. We have a huge prepayment penalty on it. We do.
Yeah.
But the property literally has gone up from 15.4 to probably 25 million. So the refi could still make a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, that sounds like a great deal. I'm really glad you brought that one up.
Yeah, and then people are like, I want more deals like that. Like I do too.
Yeah.
But if you have several aspects to a deal that your business plan, you have to assume maybe a couple of them aren't going to work out exactly the way you want to. This one did. But reality is we could have said, well, maybe we can't push rents as much as you think we can. We don't know. We need to test the market.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can't push rents when we put granite in there and the cabinet fronts. Well, we tried 2 units. We got it. And we said, let's do more. So there is, when the management company tells you, oh, we're going to have to test it a little bit here and there, you're going to be frustrated like I always get even now, but it is true. And I recommend doing a couple different upgrade levels. Do one that's a little bit lower upgrade and one's a little bit more, and then see how much more you can get on that, the higher upgrade one. It needs to make sense financially. If you put an extra $2,000 into it and you get $20 extra a month, I don't know, maybe not, right? Maybe not make sense to do that.
Yeah, no, definitely some good tips. So how has getting into real estate, leaving your IT job full-time, changed your life?
I mean, 180. I mean, I was stressed to the max. I'm not saying I never get stressed, but I mean, I don't really get that stress. I was stressed to the max on IT, had all these deadlines. Any deadline a customer gave me, I would meet no matter what. Traveling, when I had traveled to different projects, things like that. So for now, now I get to work full time with my wife. If I travel, 95% of the time she's coming with me. So we get to travel together. I have more time with her, more time with the kids, more flexibility. We are able to get the kids involved in certain aspects of the business, so teaching them certain aspects of their 14 and 11. And I mean, it's completely changed my life. And it might sound extreme. I'd say in a lot of respects, it probably saved my marriage, because we were like, when I was doing IT, we were at the brink of like, she's like, do something or else. And, but it's completely changed, more from a family perspective. And then we get to give back. I mean, we support a couple of orphanages. We have friends in Philippines that started one in January. We were able to contribute quite a bit last year to that. We have Nigeria. We support sex traffic industry. So those are things that we're able to give back more than we ever been able to give before.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. Well, Mark, if somebody's looking to get in touch with you, learn about what you're doing, where can they find you?
My email is Mark, M-A-R-K, @thinkmultifamily.com, and website's just thinkmultifamily.com. More than happy to reach out to me. I'm a straight shooter. I'll tell you straight up. People are like, well, I've talked people out of doing things that could have benefited me directly.
Yeah.
So I'll always shoot straight with you no matter what. I won't have any self-interest, in it. I'll put myself in your shoes and figure out what I would do if I was you.
Yeah. No, that's great. Well, Mark, just want to say thanks so much for taking the time today to share your success.
Thanks for having me, Seth. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. And to you, our viewers, I wish you well in your journey from purchase to profits. See you next time.